Uh, Hi, I am Pooja Sharma. Today I am representing on the topic file traversal vulnerabilities. So that starting with the what is file path traversal vulnerabilities. File path traversal vulnerabilities occurs when an attacker can manipulate user inputs directly to access the files and folders on the server. This is possible when application fails to validate user inputs and allows the attacker to inject directory sequences and able to use attacker is able to navigate to the directory structure. So that's why this is called directory traversal also, and this results in accessing the unauthorized files or accessing the sensitive information like configuration files, source codes, or operating system files like this. So next comes is how it works. L- Hacker basically sends a path for the file or directory he wants to the server, and server thinks like that the path sent by the hacker is the right. He changes he tries to include that path instead of the actual path and able to access the private directories and private files and reverts back with the file contents to the server and displays to the hacker, and now hacker is able to access the files content. How it works? Basically, it works in three steps. First is application flaw. Application flaw means like vulnerability exists when an application incorporates user input directly into a file path without validation or sanitization. Okay, in the application, we can supply the user inputs directly. Validations are not sanitized, strict input validation is not applied. Exploitation, second step. Exploitation means the attacker can provide self-crafted input like directory sequences, directory structures. And third step is the traversal, where the application believes that the input given by the attacker is valid, and it builds a malicious path to make a file path and retrieves a file outside the web root. Now we are explaining by example. Like suppose there is a website example.com where we are accessing image file product.jpg, and application appends product.jpg. Suppose अगर like if application appends product.jpg file to a base directory like slash where slash www slash images, so without checking, an attacker could change the URL like this following the directory structure. After image, he can include directory structure dot dot slash it is a slash passwd, and he is able to access the file's content. It might construct a full path and revealing the user's list. Modifying the file name parameter. So this is like we will go via boards figure labs practically, and we'll show you all the six labs. Like we have opened this our bow shoot. I will open my Firefox. Before starting, you should all also headset the proxy here, like I said already, this localhost HTTP proxy, and okay, I have already set up. Now I will go via file path traversal vulnerabilities. Where it is? This one, yeah. I'm visiting the first one, file path traversal simple case. Okay. Uh, in file path traversal simple case means user is able to user has to retrieve the contents of etc/password file with the simple by following the simple case, like simple directory sequences. Okay, so I am going to access this file and let it load. I am going in the buff shoot. I am making the intercept on. Opening this image in the next tab, coming out to this. See, going to the intercept, forward the request, and you will get this request file name. Send it to the repeater, and observe that if you will send this request, you are able to 200. Okay, slash you follow the directory sequence etc slash pass wd, like this. See, no such file. Try to go one directory up. User is able to retrieve the contents of the file. Now moving to the second lab, going back to troubleshoot proxy, making the intercept off, going back to this the lab, closing this one lab and opening the second one. Second lab says file path traversal sequences blocked with absolute path bypass. Like user is not able to access the absolute path, he has to follow the he is able to access via a relative path. I am opening this file, going to Bobshoot, getting this, forward this request, forwarding the request, okay, intercept of on, getting this request, forward, send to repeater, going to the repeater. After going to the repeater, we can change the like user is getting 200. Okay, with this, if user changes the file path like this, with the folder relative path. He don't know the absolute path. He is able to retrieve the contents of the file. Now we are moving to the third lab. We will make the intercept of. Okay, moving to the third. File path traversal. Traversal sequences step non-recursively, and user is able to supply his own crafted input. Let us access the lab. Make the intercept on. Send this request to the repeater. Make the intercept of. Send this request. You are getting 200. Okay. Here you can apply your own built crafted input, a sequence like this. Sequences for dot. Okay. Take this etc slash pass wd. And user is able to retrieve the content of this file. Go to proxy, make the intercept of. Okay. Now moving to the next file, next lab. Sequence. File path traversal. Traversal sequences stripped with superfluous URL decode. User is able to decode. User is able to retrieve the files with the URL decoding. Okay. Accessing the file. Make intercept on. Here we can craft etc. Okay, try to convert selection, URL decode, send it. User is not able to access it. Again, go back. URL convert selection, URL encode all character. By encoding this, user is again not able to access the characters. Okay, now decode it back. Decode. What user can do? Decode. User can do decode this one. %25 2f %25 2f like this. Okay, decoder is %252f. If we do the smart decode this is basically slash, and in this we can move like this the decoded form. Dot dot shift 252f dot dot %252f dot dot %252f etc slash pass wd. Okay, we'll look at the solution once. I don't know why. If I am changing the parameter, image equal to this. Okay, I will go to again and will make the intercept on and go back to this again. We'll move here, forward the request. making it off, again making it on, and making it on, again going there. Let the image load. Forward this request. You got this request. Send to repeater. Make intercept off. Go there. Change like dot dot percent 2f 252f the smartphone, and I am going to paste the same. Okay, now etc slash pass wd, sending the content 200. Okay, I use attacker is able to retrieve the content with the decoded form. Okay, now let's move to the next file, next layer. Fifth lab is file path traversal validation of the start of path. Here, the user, if user knows the like folder, actual folder, he can send the absolute path, exact path, directory structure like this. Okay, I am going to first make it intercept on and going to the here. Okay, going to Bob shoot now. Got the request, send it to repeater and intercept off. Now I am getting this request. Okay, here like I know the exact folder where www image is there. We know that in the same folder we have our password passwd file, and user is not able to access. Now we will try via directory back like this. Still user is not able to access. I will go one directory again up, and now user is able to access the file's content and the lab is solved. Okay, now we are moving to the sixth last lab, file traversal validation of file extension with null bytes. Here attacker includes some null byte, and he may know like the expected file extension also. So okay, I'm going to the pub shoot. I'm making the intercept on. Open this into this, going to the pub shoot. This is the request. Send to the repeater. and make the intercept of going to the repeater. Okay, so in this, like, user is able to retrieve the content with the same. I am adding some null bytes, changing the extension png. He is not able to change. Now here I am adding the file path slash images slash dot dots, moving, navigating to etc slash passwd. Okay, we are going to the application validates that the applied file name ends with the expected file extension. Okay, we do not need to move from the absolute path with the relative path, including the structure. User is able to retrieve the content like this. Okay, our practical is completed now. Now we are again back to our PPT presentation where we were, like, from the beginning. We have covered these all labs. Impacts, coming now to the impacts. Impacts means what are the losses of file path traversal. If an attacker can attack, what can happen? Sensitive file disclosure. Our sensitive information or sensitive file contents, like configuration files, our source code, operating system files, may leak if attacker is able to access. Second impact is credential leakage. If attacker is able to access any file anyhow, it may contain our username, passwords, credentials, details, which are our sensitive data or information. Third is information disclosure, that is other attacks. Sensitive, if user is able to access files like which contains API keys or hash code, etc., our secret keys, then then our information is disclosed via file path traversal. Next is arbitrary file write. If user is able to access the file, user can modify it, update the contents, update the source code of the file. Next comes remote code execution. If the user is able to modify the file's content or source code of the file, he may be able to execute the file on the web server. He can run the malicious code web shell on the server. Next is denial of service, information overload. Leakage of sensitive information may lead to denial of services or loss of customer trust. Like after updating the data in the file or source codes or modifying the file's content, resource exhaustion may happen, which leads to the denial of service. Compliance and reputational damage. If our personally identified information is leaked, uh, it makes our standard down, which which makes our reputation loss, which loses our reputation. Along with this, we can lose our customer trust also. Next comes mitigation techniques. Mitigation techniques is like exactly basically how to prevent or like how to secure our application basically, so that lesser chances of attack. By following the strict input validation, we should apply strict input validation, applying the permitted values input on the input, like characters, numerics, alphabets, whatever is, validate everything. Second is employ built-in functions for file access. We can use the built-in functions for file access. Like different languages provides different function. Like Java provides path dot normalize, or yeah, Java provides like get canonical path function is there, so we can use them and mitigate. Regularly update and patches. We should regularly update our softwares, our web servers, our libraries, web, etc. Implementing access controls. Implementing access control means implementing the authorization, like privileges. Privileges means like which user has the access for which area. Monitor and log access. Monitoring and logging of the access, repeated failures or repeated patterns, and monitoring all these things who is accessing. Thank you. Have a nice day.